Hello team, welcome back. It is now the 11th of October and I'm just in the lunch session now on New York. So my trading day has been finished. It was tricky today, but it was the exact price action that we talked about in the weekly forecast video on this channel, which I posted on Saturday and we've been talking about for the last few days. So just a recap of where we were at. Last week, we broke out through this resistance on Friday and started basing above. So in the video on Saturday, we talked about looking for a pullback into this old supply become demand, a break above, a retest and hold, some accumulation before running out the liquidity that was above, and then we talked about what might happen after Tuesday. Okay, so these are all the levels of liquidity, which was short sellers that were in the market who are now out of the game. Okay, so objective really for me has been complete. Okay, we've taken all this liquidity out of the market. All these short sellers are now out of the market. And my weekly model, as I talked about on Saturday, is often for the high or low extreme of the week to be made between Monday and Tuesday. So that would mean our weekly range then, okay, would be this Monday low, and we can do these in blue, and this Tuesday high. Okay, so 120 point weekly range that we have so far. So one of these is likely to hold, is likely to be the top or the bottom, potentially both. Okay, and when we have a model like this, which we pull back, we accumulate longs, we break out, we accumulate more and we push up, what we're often looking for on a strong move like this is a retest. Okay, we're looking for a retest of this supply area. And then we have two things we can do. We can do a failed breakout, which is one of my favorite setups, and then return back into range, which is a common model I look for midweek on a Wednesday. Or we can have a confirmed breakout where we break above and we hold and we continue the trend. A much harder thing to do. Okay, and why is it so hard? Because buyers like to buy low, and if we zoom out, the low was down here. Okay, so we're now really starting to extend up. So coming into today, I was prepared for, as we talked about in the last three videos, I was prepared for a short setup versus this supply. Now it could have peaked through the supply, that's also okay. Okay, if it did a candle straight up and then came straight back down and closed below, okay, so this would have been a bullish candle. That is also okay. All right, this is a viable short setup because we're cleaning out the stops from here before turning lower. So that's what I was prepared for this morning. We also had PPI released this morning and there were some Fed talkers. So it was likely that price action was going to be rather choppy. Okay, so we can get rid of these now because we've eaten through that liquidity. So the time here is 7:45. I'm going to go down to a 3-minute chart, and from the pre-market to the open, I will look. I will look to mark out the pre-market high and pre-market low. Okay, so we are coming into next candle will be open. Okay. So as we can see, as we always look to do, we will mark out the pre-market high, which would be this. I like to do these as yellow. Okay, and the pre-market low, which would be this news candle down here. Okay, so for regular trading hours, for things like the ETF, this would be the range. So that means these are dynamic points of support and resistance. We know that buyers stepped into the market down here, and there's no surprise for that, okay, because we had this consolidation level all of yesterday, and it's held the top of that range. Okay, so we consolidated in here before starting to expand through the London session. Then we had the news candle, it held the breakout point, and we've started to push back up. But remember, we have a lot of supply above. We also have this rather large gap. Okay, I don't pay a huge attention to gaps like others, but I do like to see where they are. So I can make this white and pull this right down. And I'm also interested in a fib. So from the high to the low, and we can see we're in a golden pocket here. So if we're not going to retest supply, this is also a viable area to start to look to get short. But of course, we need the setup. We need confirmation in a setup. We don't just enter in short because the market can continue to go higher. Now I'm going to put on my flow zones. Good news is I've almost finished coding these, so they'll be available for everyone very soon in a one-stop package with the IB high and IB low. So I'm also interested now in the IB high and IB low, which is the high and low point that we print between 9:30 and 10:30. Okay, so here we're having a very nice rejection of the pre-market high. So the ETF is holding us down here. Okay, people trading against the pre-market high and this fair value gap, but we've not tagged into supply yet. EMAs are currently still bullish. And that's our first look of a lower high and a lower low break. So we need to make sure this isn't just a liquidity sweep now and a push back up. So there's the confirmation. And the EMAs are starting to turn. Notice how we're starting to flatten and they're starting to roll over. So we've got this old level here of interest. Friend of mine in the room took this. This wasn't a setup I took, but it was a good setup. Here is the point where I start getting interested. Okay, we've now broken pre-market low. So on a retest of pre-market low, I could be interested, especially once we set the IB balance. And we also have this in here. Notice how the flow zone clouds are starting to trend down and they are signaling short. And we are coming into the IB level. Okay, so now we can mark out our initial balance high and low. So our IB level high would be here. Okay, so above here we could potentially get long continuation. And below here is the IB low. Now it just so happens that the IB low, okay, is also in the same point as the previous day close. So we had previous day close just here. Okay, so it's exactly the same point. So we know that's a very strong level and it's this area of consolidation. Okay, so buyers will look to hold this level up. It also means when we get underneath them, okay, they're going to be in a lot of problems. So buyers will look to hold this level up. When we get underneath them, okay, they will have to start stopping out. So we roll this forward now. Okay, we tag in here into our flow zone. We have this order block just above. We could bring it down and we could do a short fib from this swing to this swing. So this was almost valid for me to start getting short. One deeper push would be nice, but it might not give it. That actual wick would have given it. A lot of chop here. Unsurprisingly, we have the curation of a potential bear flag. Okay, potential bear flag. We can start to look to enter in this area, risking here. That would be nice. I would like a deeper pushback, really into 400 would be great. A nice psych level. Okay, so we start to break down underneath. There's the instant pullback in, and there is a push, and that's where I'm going to get interested in the short, okay, because we've got a break of structure down. We have a big candle up. Yes, it's taking these wicks out, but we're just into supply here. Okay, we're into supply, and now I'm interested on the retest. A break above. I'm going to have to stop out here, okay, because it's broken above my level of supply. It could just be a wick and a turnaround, and that's also fine. I will re-enter into this if it does that. So we're starting to consolidate here. And we're now starting to break down. So I'm going to put a single one back on, and if we can retest this area again, I'm interested because we never closed above. We never closed above, they're just wicks. And instant back flush. This is why it's important to stop out. Okay, it's important to stop out, know where your stop is, and then re-enter if it appears. And now if we run these lows, we can really start to hurt the longs who dip bought. Okay, so any retest now of the IB high and pre-market low level, I'm going to look to add. Okay, so I'm going to get one on here, and I will scale this up. I feel very confident now that they're trapped. Just looking for a push deeper. Won't give it to me. We get a break of structure there. There's the push deeper. Can we get a tiny bit more into pre-market? Beautiful. So why am I being so aggressive here? Well, we've broken under the lows. We've rejected 400. We have displacement in this candle here. Okay, we have a big gap. And we're straight into my flow zone clouds. All right, so I'm going to trust my flow zone clouds to keep us down. I'm looking for a break of structure here for confirmation, which we just got. And we're dipping back into range again. So if I wanted to be aggressive, I can re-add here on the first flow zone, okay, because it's under the IB. But I already have 4 on. There's no real reason to add extra risk right now. Now we get a pull down. What am I thinking for the target? Well, we've taken out this low. We have quite a clear level here. Okay, so any wash into this zone, I'll look to trim some off. Again, we're now retesting this level. Okay, so this is where buyers were trying to hold the dip, so I expect this to hold heavy on a return back down. I'm going to actually add one on that pop, quite like that. And getting filled underneath. One more tug here would be nice. Mr. Partial. Okay, and that takes us into where we are for today. Okay, so the market is still open. Now, ideally, I would have got filled all my position in here, but you see how important it is to recognize where the breakout point was. That was right to the wick there. Okay, so really in real time, I would have had a ton of orders sitting here, and we might still get them filled. Might still get them filled real time, still holding some position in my NinjaTrader account. And here is a bonus. I've come back half an hour later, still holding my short in my live account. And we're now starting to dig in to this demand zone that we talked about. So that pop where we just got out before, as we can see, it was the old supply level, which held up absolutely beautifully. Okay, into there, into the flow zone, and we're digging down. So if we're going to stay heavy now, I'm really still interested in this sell side. So I'm going to hold this as well as I can. My core position is still trading up here at 96, so I'm up nicely in the profit, and I'm just going to trail gently down and see how we go. But yeah, that's the recap, just to show you why you hold your positions and you look for them and you just follow the structure. Okay, so all we had here was yet another bear flag, and you don't bet against the flow of the market. Okay, if the flow zones are saying that we're short, you remain short until that changes. It's so key. People who get stuck in these markets are trying to buy dips here, and there's no reason to buy a dip right now. We're clearly in a bear trend after a double top, and we're going to wash down until we find some support. You don't have to be first in the market, okay? You just need to be right. But that's why the weekly models are so important. We were prepared for this pullback into range because the weekly model states that Monday or Tuesday we will set the high and low parameter of the week. So here is the low of the week. This is the high of the week. And we have failed to expand above the high of the week, which means we're now going to come back into range. That doesn't mean it has to come all the way down here. If we look at the week as a standard deviation, okay, a nice point would be to come back into this 50% into discount, which would be this breakout point. Okay, and that would be a nice thing to target. Other areas of interest I now have are obviously this previous area of consolidation and accumulation, and the wicks underneath here. Okay, so we have an equal low, and this is sell side liquidity. This is buyers stops sitting underneath. So that'd be a really great area to attack. Now, I don't know if we're going to get there. I have no idea if we're going to get there, and that's why I work as a trader. I trade what the market gives me in front of me. The model set up, we took the long the last few days, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We then flipped into a short today looking for the short. It didn't give us the ideal setup. The ideal setup would have been back into this supply area. But actually, if we have a look at NQ, okay, NQ did give us the setup. So this is the NASDAQ. NQ came right into the supply this morning and failed. So what does that mean? It means NQ had relative strength. NQ was able to get higher than the ES. So when ES started failing, NQ had already hit supply and had started to roll over. So that gave us good confluence at the time that we could take ES, which is the S&P mini contract, short. And as you can see, NQ is hunting lows. So NQ still hasn't taken out all of the potential lows. It's taken this liquidity here, but we still have some left. These equal or relative equal lows right here are yet to get eaten. Okay, so there's strong chance that we can still dig down lower into NQ. They can, of course, manipulate. They've left more equal lows here. They could manipulate higher and take out this swing high before coming down. And again, it doesn't have to all happen today. So great to see that our model has played out. So a recap here for you. We always look for a weekly model in the market. Our weekly model this week was separated by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So Monday we were looking for a potential low of week. Tuesday we were looking for the break and retest and some expansion. And Wednesday, ideally, we were looking for a failed breakout or a hit into the supply before coming back into range. I don't know what it's going to do now. So Thursday we have big numbers tomorrow. We have CPI. So depending on the data, we could take a dive down, okay, which would use all the liquidity that we've built the last few days for a rollover, or we could equally just accumulate and go back to that high of supply which was created on Tuesday and left. Okay, so this is what the model actually looks like, and it would have been preferred to look like. So this is where we're at the moment, and we're going to have to wait for the data to come out on Thursday to decide what we're going to do on Friday. Okay, all of these things viable. That's the recap. Trade safe. I hope you made some profits today, I'll speak to you all tomorrow. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.